Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The lure of the semi-finals looms large in Sheffield, and the curtain comes down on the quarters with arguably the greatest last 8 lineup ever assembled. 90 years of Crucible experience, 83 ranking titles between them, and yet only 2 can return tomorrow. Welcome to the climax of Day 12, here at the one and only Kazoo World Snooker Championship. What a privilege for all of us to be here as we now welcome one of the all-time greats. From 9-4 down, he has raced back into contention, giving himself a chance of a 12th Crucible semi-final almost 30 years after his first. The third most decorated player in history, the pride of Scotland, the Wizard of Wishaw, he's John Higgins. And his opponent, he's brought his A-game to the Crucible and is 4 frames away from a 4th semi-final in 7 years. Clearly happy, clearly enjoying his snooker again, and he'll be desperate to produce the goods tonight. His sons Finlay and Bailey are watching in the crowd. Come on, Daddy, come on, the Warrior, come on, Kyren Wilson. And now to a player who showed real class this afternoon, taking the last 2 of the session with a century and a 92 to level. 5 frames away from what would be a hat-trick of semi-final appearances. His first led to the title in 15. A brilliant break builder back to his best. Stuart Ball Run Bingham. And finally, to the greatest of all time. Could he seal a 14th semi-final 28 years after his first? Reigning UK champion, reigning Masters champion, 7 times a champion of the world. Blink and you'll miss him. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
The 12th evening of the World Snooker Championship, the evening that will determine the semi-final lineup at the Kazoo World Championship for 2024. Kyren Wilson breaks off in the final session with a 9-7 lead over the great John Higgins, 4 times champion of the world. Wilson, former finalist, who won the first session 5-3, drew the second this afternoon 4 each. He's in front, but he may have 1 or 2 nagging doubts that the lead should have been bigger. Remember, he was 9-4 up at one stage. Higgins was in a world of trouble, but somehow he scrambled his way to 3 consecutive frames to stay very much in the picture. And it's going to be, Neal Foulds, a fascinating finale to this match.
Well, it is. And the tournament's opening up all the time. And, of course, should O'Sullivan not beat Stuart Bingham in their 8-all, then whoever wins this match is going to be favourite. There's a couple of ifs and buts in there, of course. It was an odd session, really. I mean, the first 2 sessions have been the same. For the most part, Kyren Wilson has outplayed John Higgins, but yesterday he won the first couple. The last couple of frames from 5-1 down. Higgins, and today he picked up the last 3, so he's doing all his best work at the end. He can't afford to keep leaving it as late as he has been. I don't think he's playing all that well, if I'm honest. Higgins. But he's in there fighting against this man.
Wilson certainly had chances in those last 3 frames, not least the one that he lost on the black in the end, and it was a very tough black that he was faced with to win the frame, but he had a much better chance prior to that with a plant which went astray. That allowed Higgins back into the frame. The last was a very edgy affair. Error-strewn, Higgins benefiting from an outrageous fluke at one stage. Wilson had a couple of half chances but couldn't make them pay. So in front, but still 4 frames from the winning line, and that's a lot under this kind of pressure.
He's just looking if he can see enough of the red to pot it in the middle. I think he just about can, but there isn't a lot sticking out. Oh, goodness me, he's hit the wrong red. Well, I mean, it could have been worse, but it isn't the kind of start that would inspire you with a lot of confidence, hitting the wrong ball. And quite a lot of that first red as well. I mean, what was evident in the morning session, I have to say this, and we are complete neutrals. We haven't got we're not got a favourite out of these two. We like them both, but I can tell you, John Higgins, to me, had a very good run of the ball. It was evident throughout the session, but it almost came to a head in the last frame, which there was a few things happened, but the fluke on the red that Higgins got, which essentially went on to winning the frame, was extraordinary, really. I think he had a terrific run to get him those frames, to help him get those frames.
One thing is certain, Higgins is going to have to start this session a whole lot quicker than he has the previous 2. 5-1 down in the first at one stage and lost 4 on the bounce this afternoon. He's managed to finish the sessions strongly. Tonight, he's got to start strongly, and he's got this first opportunity after the error from Wilson. Higgins, remember, sealed victory with a session to spare when they met in the World Championship in the second round last season. 13-2. He's won the last 5 times they've played. He's won all 3 of their World Championship meetings, including the semi-finals. That was back in 2018 when Wilson was enjoying his first taste of the unique one-table setup here.
Yeah, it was one of those plants where the reds were not touching, so it goes the conventional way, and he made it quite nicely. Oh, goodness. There's been too much of that. He really, you know, I did wonder if he was going to build on the win against Mark Allen, because he made an incredible clearance in that deciding frame there. And yesterday, he didn't play very well at all, and today would have been the day when you thought he might pick up his game. But quite frankly, if he wins tonight, he wins, but he has not played well in this match.
A rueful smile from Wilson, because yes, he can drop this red in, but he can't do much with the cue ball. So position is the issue off this red.
Yeah, I mean, he could have made an angle and sent the cue ball up the table, but the trouble is the cue ball's going to bounce as well because he's cueing down on it. I mean, everything's in the lap of the gods there. I think it was ambitious to be on something, but he At least gets another shot now to play safe.
Kyren Wilson, 1.
So once again, you could say that Higgins, having missed the black, was a little fortunate that he didn't leave something more promising for Wilson, just the red and a safety.
Wow, you miss. Kyren Wilson, 4.
Somewhat deep sigh there from John Higgins after that shot went wrong as well. Now he's got a decision to make here, Kyren. Yes, he can have them put back, although it doesn't appear that he'll keep missing that red. Oh, this is a tough shot.
He's knocked in some crackers from this sort of range in this match. And there's another one.
But he played it with a lot of getting the cue ball safe in the plan there, didn't he? He didn't really take it on that full-bloodedly, not as far as getting onto a colour. I did wonder if he might play the red that's above the black and try and kiss off the red by the pink and just really get into the frame. So, yes, it was a brilliant shot, but he did play it with an air of caution. Goodness, I understand why at this stage. Now he's missing with the rest, so there you are. Some things can change under pressure because he misses very few with it.
Cue ball's just crept behind the red. He didn't pot the red cleanly. Pink doesn't go, so looks like end of break already. Quite a nervy start to this final session, which is entirely to be expected. John Higgins came into this tournament with his top 16 place under threat. Even now, he's not absolutely certain of retaining it, even though he's got to the quarterfinals. One of his miraculous clearances under extreme pressure to get this far at the expense of Mark Allen on the final black has been some way off his A game in this match so far, and yet he's still in touch, and that's the key. Wilson hasn't quite been able to put him away in the way that he might have done. He scored the best part of 300 points more than John Higgins. He scored the heavier throughout, but only a 2-frame cushion to show for it.
This is an attempt to get behind the brown ball. You can see the idea. It was a good effort, in fact. This could get nervous, couldn't it? Nervy tonight. It really could. David Gilbert's been superb, but he is a qualifier who would be the opponent of the winner. So if you thought about this for too long, it would make you almost unable to pot a ball. All the implications of these results tonight, if you were one of the people still in, whoever of the ones that, the 4 that remain at the end of the night must, you know, on balance of play, must fancy their chances. Two qualifiers and the 2 men that are actually through currently. This is amazing, really.
can't access the red, and the problem for Wilson is making sure that Higgins can't either after his next shot. Anxious glance to see if there's a gap. And there would appear to be so. Dead straight pot. Shake of the head from Wilson. I'm sure he's exasperated that he's not further in front.
1.
Higgins has done well to muscle the cue ball out of that corner and into a position where he can continue the break. At 9-4, it was looking much more likely that Wilson would pull away than it was that Higgins would get back into the match. But of course, that was the moment when the dividing wall came up after Judd Trump's defeat at the hands of Jack Jones. And Higgins definitely did relax a bit, started to play better. Yes, there were still errors, but to win the last 3 from 9-4 was a fantastic result for him.
Eight. Nine. 16. Seventeen.
That was a very good shot from Higgins.
24.
That's really unlocked the frame a little bit, getting through that gap off the cushion.
$25.
Yeah, I mean, the shot where the cue ball was up near the brown and Kyren Wilson didn't really have a way out. It'll open the door in this frame for Higgins. Kyren will be getting very nervy because this match is closer than it, quite frankly, should be on the run of play. Especially when you think it was 4-0 at one point. 5-1 and all other scorelines favouring Wilson, but you know, we might be down to just one frame shortly.
Higgins threatening to do what Wilson did earlier today, win 4 in a row.
$39.
Higgins only made one significant break in the 8 frames in the earlier session. That was a 73, which launched the comeback from 9-4. The other 2 were much less convincing, but he won them. That was the key thing. Had he lost them, then Wilson would almost have been through already coming into this deciding session. This to make sure.
48.
Well, he did miss a black off his spot early in the frame, but Wilson then missed with the rest, unusually for him, on the yellow, and then left the red for Higgins when trying to leave things safe, and Higgins has made the most of it. He's missed that green, but
John Higgins, 48.
55 the difference.
Well, he'd be annoyed to have missed it, because really it's end of frame. If the green goes in, and another red, of course. Kyren, he feels obliged to carry on despite what you're going to say, 3 snookers.
Yeah, it's a long road back, isn't it, to put it mildly. We saw Stephen Maguire offer his hand to Dave Gilbert when he only needed 1 at the end of their match earlier. Of course, Gilbert plays the winner of this in the last 4. Maybe it's just a chance for Wilson to try and get the disappointment of missing that yellow and then leaving Higgins in out of his system out of the next frame.
Kyren Wilson, 8. Frame conceded, frame John Higgins.
John Higgins very much now back in contention with 4 straight frames from a perilous 9-4 to just 1 behind at 9-8.
Thank you, frame 18. John Higgins to break.
So John Higgins breaking off, looking for parity. And that seemed a remote possibility when he trailed 9-4 and was really struggling. Kyren Wilson, in all departments, the better player, as he has been for the lion's share of this match. And yet now, just a frame ahead. Difficult to get those doubts, those concerns out of your mind that this match should already have been yours and maybe it's now slipping away. He's still in front and we know that he's possessed of a very good temperament. Even so, he'll wonder how this match is as close as it is.
Of course, the way the match started, it was all about Kyren Wilson getting John Higgins in a lot of trouble with his safety and potting long balls and basically scoring. All of the boxes were ticked, but John now he's kind of addressing all that, it seems. It's almost like he's dictating the safety.
Looking to draw level since they shook hands at the start of the match. Kyren Wilson continues to be well ahead as regards safety success, and that was a key feature of him building his lead in the early stages of this quarter-final. He had Higgins tied up in knots. Higgins was largely frozen out early on. And that takes some doing against one of the greatest tactical players we've ever seen. It's been a triumph of persistence as much as anything for Higgins in this match, just refusing to buckle, which, of course, great champions never do. He's fought, and he's being rewarded. Even though he's not playing anywhere near as well as he would like. That said, we've talked a lot throughout this tournament about the conditions, the difficulty at times of the tables. Dave Gilbert said after his victory earlier over Maguire that the nature of the tables changes quite drastically from day to day, session to session, in terms of how nicely they play. He said that last night the table was beautiful against Maguire. Today, it was much more of a struggle. But of course, he got the job done with something to spare in the end. 13-8.
Foul. Kyren
Well, it's a bit of a misjudgment going off, quite honestly. Swinging the cue ball wide. Around the angles was the plan in behind the yellow, or that kind of area.
Nice red from Wilson. In terms of the most convincing looking players in this championship so far, he'd be very near the top of the list, if not the top. Dave Gilbert's obviously played some great stuff. I think Wilson's all-round game has been very solid. Perhaps in this match so far, he's been guilty of not being as clinical as he might have been at key moments, which is why the lead is so slender. But he's up against one of the greats. That's just shaved the jaw. And of course, he had to get the chastening loss of last year out of his system. That was one of the first hurdles to overcome. The fact that he only won 2 frames out of 15 against Higgins 12 months ago. And hasn't beaten him in their last 5 meetings.
I think it only just went that red. That's maybe why it went in off the right part of the pocket. He's got to get his sort of equilibrium back, hasn't he, a little bit? Wilson, just the way things have gone, the way the match has changed. Deep down, he probably knows he's been the more effective, dangerous, the more dangerous, the better long game of the two, all of these things. And one thing you know with Kyren, he'll very rarely show emotion. He actually did this afternoon look more than disappointed at a few things that went against him.
21.
That's a good shot. I don't think Kyren's ever going to be someone that's going to do a Stephen Maguire and give the table a rap or anything. I've never seen him lose his temper out there, but, you know, clearly things were just getting to a little bit. The run of the ball, I think, was affecting him. But I think it takes a lot for something to affect him. Quite good upstairs, I think, with his mental approach.
It's a big reason why he's got such a good record here. His 7th quarter-final. Former finalist, a couple of other semis. He knows what it takes in this place, which will test your patience to the absolute limit and beyond, more often than not. And it's been an ordinary season for Wilson coming into this tournament, just the one ranking semi-final in Berlin. And of course, Germany is where he's played some of his best snooker. 3 of his 5 ranking titles have come there. But aside from that, not much doing. But he's clearly come into this World Championship, as he always does,
87.
very well prepared. Leaves nothing to chance.
$28. $32. $33.
Oh, goodness me. Hearing about these tables being tight, I never thought at any point that was going to drop.
40.
That's high enough off the top jaw to me, but there you are. It seems that some go that you don't think will, and others stay out.
I think that plays in again to the point that Gilbert was making, that from session to session, the table plays differently, and as a result, during certain sessions or periods of matches, the pockets are a little more forgiving than others. It was certainly a hard-in-the-mouth moment for Wilson, but on he goes, 45 in front. And that's not gone to plan.
A little unfortunate there, I think, not to be on something.
46.
Clearly, he's on absolutely nothing. There's not even something he could have a sort of dart at here. He's definitely out of position totally. Yeah, he's played it quite well. I mean, if you're going to hit any side of that top red, you probably want to hit the left side because you can push the left red near the pocket. Even that's not happened. So it's time for him to nurse along this 50-point lead.
Kyren Wilson, 46.
It's a handsome lead as well, given the state of the table, a number of awkward reds. It's a bit of a waiting game now for Higgins in this frame. 50 behind, and even for someone who's capable of conjuring magical clearances, this would be a bit of an ordeal given the awkward nature of the table right now. Wilson more than happy for it to remain that way.
I guess it helps you've got a 50-point lead in the balls are like this. Because really it puts the onus on John Higgins to find a way of unravelling the frame, getting things out in the open. I think that, has he left the red to left middle? It's a bit of a tempter, but I don't see how he can not take it on, really.
One.
Well, that'll do. John should never have left him that. I think he knows that. It was quite a serious miscalculation to do so. Well, this was the shot, and John did not mean to leave the red to left middle, but that's what he did do.
Four. Six. Seven.
So well on his way here. Just a bit more to do. He'll need just another red, and it will be a very welcome frame for Kyren if he wins it.
13.
That was the key ball. It looks like Wilson's got his 2-frame cushion back. Higgins initially going off in this frame, allowing Wilson to build a lead, and then the table was awkward, and you saw Higgins' frustration when he left the red to the left centre, and Wilson has punished him, edging ever closer.
$19.
His mum and dad, his sons Finlay and Bailey, both here this evening as well, cheering his every shot, no doubt.
24.
And they'll be pleased with the way this frame has gone.
Carry motion 25 under.
25 more than enough to kill the frame off after John Higgins had left the red to the centre pocket. Kyren Wilson back in front by 2 at 10 frames to 8.
Thank you. Frame 19. Kyren motion to break.
Kyren Wilson within 3 frames of his 4th World Championship semi-final appearance. He leads John Higgins 10 frames to 8. They've shared the 2 on the resumption this evening. It's never part of the plan to bring a red up the table, but it's actually a decent break-off with the cue ball tight to the baulk rail.
Terrific shot. We got a look at how tight it was against the cushion. It was just very fractionally off, but it was a terrific pot, and that has been a feature of his performance. His long potting has been superb in this match.
Nine.
John Higgins won a scrappy opening frame this morning, which lasted 50 minutes. Wilson then proceeded to win 4 in a row. If he can repeat the trick tonight, after Higgins took the opener, he's home and dry. And this is a very good chance to get 3 in front and within 2 of the winning line.
$24. $25. 33.
Wow, very nearly knocked in the yellow. Obviously, the cannon wasn't intended.
Must admit, it did look as if that yellow was going to drop in for a while, which would have been topped him off, really, I think, the way that things have gone. Don't know what red he was hoping to get on.
35.
But he's literally on the reds. It's going to be end of break, but in the context of this match, it's a good start to the frame.
Foul. And a miss.
Yeah, he wasn't touching a ball,
Very motion 35.
so he had to hit a red.
35.
And I think he tried to glance off that left-hand red, which was an unsuccessful attempt. He's queuing, but he's not touching the two reds. It might have been a miscue, actually, seeing it again, like a double hit or something. Either way, foul is what it was.
Any time those have been played with pace during this World Championship, if they haven't been absolutely nailed on, they've stayed out, as that one did. Now Wilson looking to do a bit better with the same shot. And his is sweetly struck. Deserves some luck, and that's more than satisfactory for Wilson.
3.
Couldn't have hit these much better. What a chance now. Already now 34 in front.
Yeah, getting those reds open has made all the difference here.
11.
So it's a good effort, this. He's picked his game up a little bit.
$90. $20.
Two more reds
27.
should make the frame safe.
$28.
63 the lead, 67 left. This goes in. Higgins needs 2 snookers.
34.
Yes, and what has been noticeable here, the frame's not over yet, but as far as John is concerned, needing snookers, 8.5 minutes they've played, by far the quickest frame of this match. Yes, it might go on if snookers are aimed at, but you get the feeling this is a burst from Kyren Wilson at the best possible time.
Higgins had the initial chance from mid-range. He missed the red. He left Kyren Wilson with an almost identical shot. Wilson got it.
42. $49. 50.
And suddenly, Wilson has slipped into a higher gear. One more frame before the final interval. The frame John Higgins, you would think, has to win.
Going to try and move the other red out here. I think he tried to. Not very successfully, but not that it matters much. Yeah, I mean, this was a shot. He got close to it, but not close enough by any means.
A sprightly half-century once again from Kyren Wilson, and has resumed complete control of this match. 2 away now from victory. John Higgins with it all to do again. 11-8 down.
Thank you. Frame 20. John Higgins to break.
John Higgins breaking off and looking to avoid falling 4 down with 5 to play. If he wins this frame, then he remains in with a chance, a realistic chance.
Will you take your seat quickly, please?
But unquestionably, Kyren Wilson has gone on top of him again tonight, having lost the first frame of the evening. 2 good frames to move 3 clear again. Remember, he was 5 clear at one stage this afternoon at 9-4. Higgins found a way back with 3 in a row.
Worth a chance, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, the next frame, if he goes 12-8, it's a very healthy position for Kyren. He seems to have weathered the storm a little bit. Higgins has not improved his game. To have seen that cue ball bounce away from the bolt cushion there, more so than it did.
Higgins under the pump again. Initially, he didn't look all that happy with the angle he had on the brown, but he's powered it in nicely to get down to the reds. So Wilson in, looking for a 3-frame burst of his own to put him on the cusp of victory.
6.
Looking just to nudge the red out of the way for the black. That's not gone to plan, though, so would appear to be end of break.
Yeah, and really for a top player, that's not the most difficult little cannon. But there's a lot of tension in the arm at this stage. Maybe the touch goes a little bit.
Kyren Wilson, 6.
It was a great opening, but he didn't make anything much from.
Pretty good result for Wilson in the end. Those 2 cushion escapes always come with danger attached, but he's got the cue ball back up the table. Nothing doing for Higgins. John Higgins' pot success in this match has stubbornly refused to budge from around the 85% mark. That certainly opened things up, but what's he left?
Well, he must have left something, surely. He's played a really poor shot. I don't know, he must have seen a plant that maybe he saw something that wasn't there, because he was nowhere near anything going into a pocket. Somehow all the reds have seem to have retreated to a very safe area. And a lot of balls move there. He missed the plant by a mile, and then everything else is happening. It's one of those 2 reds that was at the bulk end you'd like to think would be potable. Seemingly not. Just wonder if he might consider the double here to the left middle. thinking that there's no great harm in trying. Well, I can't really complain about bad luck. He played the shot this time. I mean, he's just finished the worst imaginable place. It's a good double, but not over the top of the yellow. That's horrible now.
Not touching.
Leo Scullion confirming it wasn't touching the yellow initially.
Well, I don't know why Leo said it was touching ball, because it's of no consequence. The referee doesn't announce that on a ball that's not on.
You switch that off.
Oh dear. Well, maybe John Higgins enjoyed a run of the ball earlier today on occasions. He certainly didn't there. He's promoted the red. Great chance for Wilson.
Yeah, that was a change in fortunes, wasn't it, in one shot? Because here, actually, he's quite unlucky to leave one. I know he hit the blue, which was not part of the plan, but to half ball hit the red, more often than not, you wouldn't leave a ball there. Anyway, what a chance for Kyren Wilson.
Hi. Six.
Well, it feels like a very big moment in this match. As we've been saying, you know, Kyren has undoubtedly been the best player. Philip and I have been on all three sessions. He was been pegged back by a very dogged John Higgins. He's got a bad angle here on this blue. That's why he's decided to take a more difficult pink. There's a little bit resting on this. And he just goes. It's just got this tendency when the pressure's on, just to not have that cue ball under the kind of control that other top players have. I know it's been something aimed at him, but it does creep back into his frame when the pressure's on, into his game rather. But he's a good rest player. He's another challenge though with the rest. I can't think of too many players in the game who would have taken that red on instead of the one especially right-handed players. The red to the left corner looked a lot easier. At the point where break of 40 or 50, I mean, it's absolutely like gold dust here.
19. $20.
A four-frame advantage is by no means unfamiliar to Kyren Wilson in this match. He led 4-0, 5-1, and at one stage this afternoon, 9-4, 5 frames clear, and each time Higgins has been able to claw his way back, but of course the difference now is that Wilson is potentially, after this visit, just a frame away from victory. Higgins would have no room to manoeuvre.
$33. $34.
Yeah, one or two oohs and ahs from the crowd. It wasn't
39.
dead centre. We've seen some of these missed in this tournament as well. Using the full width of the pocket, Kyren Wilson, but they're still going in.
Yeah, and the thing was there, it looked like it wouldn't go off that left jaw. I thought that the black was playing a part. It just squeezed past the black, and how it went in, I'm not too sure, but it did, which takes him ever closer to the frame. You know, it hasn't always been fluent stuff, but a 10-minute frame and only 16 minutes into this one, you know, he is completely dominant at this stage. You'd like to carry on, but we have got another mid-session interval after this frame, whatever happens. Higgins are going to have to find something almost superhuman, I think, to win it.
48.
One thing that has been impressive from Kyren Wilson in this match, and it's nothing unusual from him, is that he's been able to stay in the moment. Time and time again, he'll feel as though he's had this match within his grasp and Higgins has loosened it. His family 54. Watching on. But each time he's been able to respond, just as he has 55. This evening from 9-8 when Higgins won the first of the night and was threatening parity from 9-4 down, but Wilson has found something extra and pulled away yet again. He hasn't allowed any doubts to affect his snooker.
62.
A Herculean task ahead of the great man now on the other side of the interval.
67.
And now closing in on his second century of the match. The first coming way back in frame 6.
75. 76. $81. $83. $86. $90. $95.
For his 49th Crucible century.
What a time. What a time to play some more great snooker. Excellent break.
A brilliant clearance from the warrior Kyren Wilson, his 65th century of the season, to put him on the cusp of the semi-finals of the World Championship. John Higgins has a huge task on his hands now at the final interval. He's 4 down with 5 to play. Kyren Wilson leading by 12 frames to 8. Welcome back. John Higgins has already shown his many fighting qualities in this match. He was 5-1 behind and got back to within 1 frame. He was 9-4 behind and got back this evening to within 1 frame. Now he's 4 adrift again. And Kyren Wilson is only 1 frame away from the semi-finals and a meeting with Dave Gilbert, conqueror earlier of Stephen Maguire. 12-8, 4 up with 5 to play. And maybe the wheel of fortune has turned a little in more recent times. John Higgins was unlucky to leave the red that led to Kyren Wilson's 2nd century of the match just before the interval. Wilson bringing a red up off the break. Can he slot this in? Get himself in this must-win frame. Oh, and the in-off. Now, has he left the red? It's pretty close to the cushion, but it's potable. No, it's caught the jaw. Wasn't a gimme, but it was a chance for Wilson. Just caught the near jaw on its way. That was enough to keep the red out. John Higgins' long pot success in this match, just 46%. That was more mid-range, but 1 or 2 of those have gone astray as well. That one was sound.
9.
So he probably needed to get in early. Well, I mean, very few frames has he got in early and been able to score. It's been Kyren, or if anybody, that's done it. It's funny how it changes when you're 4 down with 5 to play. The kind of pattern of the match can change for a short while.
16.
But even then, John's not even pleased with that shot. The red he pots, the cue ball is just coming across a little bit dangerously close to that other red. He might try and play the cannon on it. Either way, he's going to hold for the black.
Just past the 7-hour mark. The average frame time in this match, a shade under 21 minutes. We had a 50-minute to start session 2.
17.
It's nicely played by Higgins. One thing that is not in any doubt is that Higgins will give it everything in a bid to pull this match out of the bag. At the moment, it's a long shot, but you can't discount a player of his class.
$25. $32. $33. $40.
Well,
John Higgins, 40.
5 reds, 5 blacks, but that's not quite as hurtful as it might have been for Kyren Wilson. And we're seeing they're quite difficult along the cushion, but I don't think this was ever going in anywhere, quite honestly. It's worth the risk, that's for sure. Sometimes, you know, the final frame, or the one that wins you a match like this and takes a player, propels them into the semi-final, one-table setup can be the most difficult one to win. I don't know whether Kyren's going to find that. I get the feeling if his chance comes to win, he'll take it. Just left jaw, but it always looked like it was close enough. Well played, John Higgins.
One of his best long pots of the match. He's going to have to take his game to a completely different level to anything we've seen to this point if he's to turn this around. But he's in good shape in this frame, already 42 in front.
7.
A sporting tap of Kyren Wilson's thigh. It was a terrific pot to get in. Nothing you can do about that.
No, but isn't it funny how the dynamic slightly changes? You know, he's gone to the interval having got nowhere really this evening, John Higgins. Yes, I know he picked up the opening frame, but now it comes out. Maybe the pressure's relieved on his shoulders, but that in off
John Higgins 14.
has come at a particularly inopportune moment. The black's gone safe. You could see it actually from that low angle. It was always absolutely flying towards that middle pocket. It's almost like a disappearing shot of some kind, but it could be disappearing John's chances. That might be what happens next. It's a long way back in the frame, but sometimes you think, well, I'll save it for the next frame, but Kyren might have to win this match here and now if he can.
Seven. Twelve. Thirteen.
So now he's just getting down to the point where things become more difficult.
19.
I mean, 3 reds and high-value colours here gets him right back in the frame.
$20. Yeah. 25. Thank you. 26. $31.
Can Wilson seal it here and now? Higgins a bit unlucky to go in off when he was looking good to close the gap.
I guess there could have been an argument there to knock the red into play from that red, but with the black where it is, I don't suppose that would have actually made a lot of difference. Would have brought the red out, but I'm sure the cue would have stayed probably where that is. I mean, if the black was close to a pocket, it would definitely have been the right shot to play. That would have been his next colour.
Threatre.
So this is basically crunch time. This is like the John Higgins red, isn't it? In that clearance is almost a carbon copy. With the same result. And now it could happen to Higgins what he had administered to Mark Allen.
The Wilson clan getting excited, understandably. Edging ever closer.
Yeah, that's perfectly
41.
okay. Obviously playing the same shot this time for the green. He doesn't want to screw it back as far. It's been an excellent break, this. I mean, it really has, because Higgins was threatening to just start to pull frames back, and now he's got very little say in what happens from here on in, unless somehow Kyren Wilson misses.
46.
John Higgins, as always, has given it everything. He's also provided one of the moments of the World Championship with that stunning clearance to deny Mark Allen on the final black in the previous round. But Kyren Wilson is a couple of pots away from denying him his dreams of a 5th world title.
Yes, and if he does it, if he pots this ball, you have to say, what a turnaround from last year when he got absolutely... Well, he got comprehensively beaten by the man he's about to beat, John Higgins. It was a complete hammering.
Sweet revenge for the Warrior. Kyren Wilson raises his fist. It's a 4th World Championship semi-final appearance for him. John Higgins stubbornly refused to buckle throughout the match like the great champion he is. But he was second best in all departments from start to finish. Wilson deservedly through to the one-table situation here at the Crucible to play Dave Gilbert. He wins by 13 frames to 8.